It says live on Facebook on my screen.
Yeah, mine too.
All right.
Whether anybody can see us or not, that's another story.
Well, I do have a Google Doc open with someone who is watching it on Facebook. So she's going to let me know if like anybody pops on there and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Okay, it does say live on Facebook. Mine went
Yeah.
back. So hi everybody. We are live on Facebook, and this is a roundtable discussion with some musicians from around the world. I'm so excited you guys join me here. And we
Thanks
may
for
have
having us.
people hopping in as we go along here. So a quick introduction. We have Steve Cohn, Marcella Puppini, and Mike Mayenza with me. And when I say around the world, I mean around the world. We've got New York, well, different parts of New York covered here, and we have London. And you're actually from Italy though, right, Marcella?
I am, yes. So I represent 2 countries.
Wow, very cool. So what I wanted to do really quickly here, okay, so we did an introduction. So how is everybody surviving?
Not too bad. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
really, life's the same for me. I mean, nothing's
Yeah.
really changed much except not rehearsing and playing shows. That's about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably rehearsing a lot right now because that's all you have time to do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've just been writing and recording a lot, so.
Yeah.
Well, for me here in New York, life has changed dramatically.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like I was on average working like 2 or 3 shows a week. I play anywhere from 10 to 15 gigs a month, and that is now all stopped.
Wow.
It's been difficult. I mean, my rehearsal studio is closed. I live in a 2-bedroom condo, so unfortunately, I can't practice in my house.
Right.
Other than my drum pads and my guitar, that's about it. But like I'm a working drummer, so these last 2 months have been difficult. I just got unemployment straightened out. I got 2 weeks so far, but there's like a missing 4 weeks because my last day to work was on March 15th, and then I didn't get paid for 4 weeks, and then magically 2 weeks just showed up. So it's something. At least it's something, and
Yeah.
with no end in sight, at least a little help from the government, is good. Yeah, and just trying to stay safe. Another wrinkle into why life has changed so much. I actually got sick. I was in bed for like 3 weeks with the virus.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I didn't really tell many people. I fully recovered, and actually just yesterday I took my antibody test. So I'm hoping that they could use my blood or my plasma to help somebody.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. But now it's just trying to figure out ways to, make money. I don't see any potential gigs. I had a chat with our agent last week, my main band's agent, and he said potentially some privates in maybe August. It's just Live Nation went on record about 2 weeks ago and said that's it. They closed. And I work a lot of Live Nation rooms, so they basically just said that's it. You're not working for the next 6 months. I mean, it's just crazy.
Year for me.
Yeah.
My tour's been rescheduled for next spring,
Okay.
2021. So yeah, same boat.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yep, I'm waiting. I have a bunch of tickets for things in July, and one was just announced like 2 or 3 days ago to be moved all the way to next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that big Motley tour. I think actually they're doing good business by telling people. They told everybody they're going to make an announcement in June. Like there is a possibility they might be able to salvage like a few months. You know,
Right.
maybe they could get August and maybe push it into September. I mean, that's a lot of money those cats were going to make. I mean, that was supposed to make millions.
Oh
And
yeah, millions per building or venue.
Yeah.
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 It's hard to make those decisions because you don't know when things are going to open up. And on top of that, and that's one of my other things, my questions for you guys too. Like, how do you think people are going to be when if they just open everything up? Like, I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I want to go and support people, but at the same time, and I want people to come to my shows, but at the same time, I'm a little hesitant to go out and be around people like that now.
Of course,
It seems to me that a lot of people, like certainly in London, a lot of younger people are behaving like nothing's happened. So I would imagine that as soon as things open up, they'll be the first to go. Right. Unless they get used to the Netflix and chill situation and just never go out again. But they're in the park. I mean, they've been in the park all day. The park was rammed with people. It's just nobody's really following the guidelines over here.
No, same here. I was out on a motorcycle ride last week or whatever it was, and I was along Durant Eastman Park, and there was people all over the place. And this was a weekday at 1:30 in the afternoon. I mean, I hardly saw anybody wearing masks. You know, I was quite shocked actually. But for me, I don't plan on going anywhere for a while. I mean, unless I absolutely have to. You know, it's just. I'll wait and see what happens when they start letting people go out and start doing things. But if there's going to be restrictions, you can only let so many people in a club or a venue.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not financially viable.
Right. I mean, so say somebody goes out and does a world tour, but they're only letting half the people in. Are they going to charge twice as much for tickets? I mean, they can't do it. It's just not cost effective.
Tickets are already way overpriced.
Oh, no kidding. Don't get me started on the fees.
Yeah, exactly. well, Nancy, back to your original question, which was what your initial question. Hold on, my mind just blanked here. What was your initial question? Sorry.
About how the people will go out.
Yes. So I have a theory on that. I got sidetracked for a second. With everybody under lockdown, people are watching Netflix, like you said, and just staying in and writing songs and doing what they can. But I think the consumers, the true live music fans, I mean, once restrictions are, I know they're doing it slowly in certain cities, but once restrictions are lifted and people can actually go out and choose to go out to clubs, I think we're going to have another roaring 20s. Like in 1918, I've always been in glasses half full type guy. So like in 1918, when we were suffering from the Spanish flu, I mean, that lasted for like a year and a half. Millions of people died. And that was one of the reasons the term the roaring 20s was coined, because, all the speakeasies opened up and people wanted to go out and whoop it up. I mean, so I'm hoping that once consumer confidence comes back, that people are already, like you said, going to parks and not listening to, wearing masks and social distancing. All these things help, but you can't knock people down and arrest them for wearing a mask. I mean, that's my.
Oh yeah, you can't. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And speaking of the speakeasy thing, they've actually already busted like between 2 and 5 bars out here by me.
Oh wow!
For being open, they decided to just say screw it, and they opened up. But there's always someone who wants to either be the hero or be the snitch, and I hate using the word snitch, but like they did get called on, and unfortunately, those people all lost their liquor licenses and now have to reapply like they're brand new. So
wow.
I don't think that was really worth it for them.
That's crazy.
I wonder if they knew that was the consequence of opening and they were going to lose their liquor license. That seems.
And
pretty
they knew
steep.
that our county executive has been on the news every single day saying, if you open, you risk your liquor license.
Wow.
They came right in and pulled them.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, there goes the speakeasies again. People open underground bars.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll have to knock on the door, and somebody will open a little window to let you in.
Little window.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to, they said,
Password.
the password should be like, all right, who played drums on the, like Led Zeppelin 4, just name 3 songs off of Led Zeppelin 4.
Right.
So then that kind of leads me into like, what do you think of these reports? Because I did read a report that says maybe no large gatherings until fall 2021. I don't know. I don't think anyone in here is really playing theaters, but at the same time,
I do.
I play theaters.
That's where I play. That is that's why I'm not expecting to go anywhere at least until next spring. Because,
it's crazy.
That's what my initial reaction was, because I do theaters as well. I do a lot of Live Nation rooms, the Paramount Theater in Long Island, the Capitol Theater in Portchester. I mean, these are 1,500 to 2,000 seat theaters that,
I wasn't sure if that article actually was more like Darien Lake type things and like.
Yeah.
But I mean, because I think it might have been a Live Nation article. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, for them to say that's it for the year just really kind of like cuts everybody's throat. You're just like, we're all hoping for the best, and we want the touring season to commence. And like, I'm still holding out possibly for some August or September dates. And they're basically saying that's it for the year. I mean, if you could pull off some sort of attendance thing, and if the venue holds 1,000 people, we'll let 500 people in. But like Steve mentioned before, is that going to escalate ticket charge? Ticket costs. I mean, these are all what ifs.
It's untenable to do it with reduced capacity. I think venues just can't afford it. Not
right.
Yeah.
I saw some comments saying like, well, is the venue going to want to pay you half then if only half the people can go in? It's like, well, that can't even be an option.
No.
Like that's just not even. It shouldn't even be on the table.
No, I reckon we're just going to be playing online until, like, anyone who plays in theaters is only going to play online until next spring at least. I don't see how it could be any different, and that's why there's a lot of online. I just received an inquiry from a new website called Sessions about.
I think I know. I think I've seen that one.
They've contacted us to play online for them. I was already thinking of, like, I've found a barge on the canal in London where I was thinking of doing a series of concerts, but if somebody else is organizing it, that's what I'm doing.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. The live streaming market is a possibility. Finding a location, and you could set it up where you have to charge a fee to log on to watch, or you could do a suggested donation. I mean, these are all viable.
Isn't that what that Sessions does?
Yeah. They charge. I think they charge admission,
and you can set it, right?
I think so. Yes, and also because it all depends on the quality of the stream. So if it's good enough quality, people might pay like £10 over here per household. That is a bargain. I mean, I've done it to watch opera, so you would pay for that if it's good enough quality. And I reckon if the settings are good enough, which is why I was looking at the barge, because that's going to look pretty. It's got to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody in town here just did a live stream performance from a club. Comedy on Carlson. I think that was.
I think they were doing that.
Right. I didn't actually see the stream live, but I watched the video afterwards. And I mean, multiple cameras. The audio was great. So.
Photo City Improv, I think, has been doing.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, sorry.
I think that's they're at least one of them. There may be more.
It was an instrumental band. I don't,
I don't know.
just
I just
three
know
piece
that when
band.
I went to a concert there earlier this year, it's like totally blanking on my mind now what it was, but I saw the cameras and then I went back and they broadcast it. So I was able to go back and like watch it again, which was kind of cool.
Right.
And that was that was before all of this.
Well, this was just a couple weeks ago, the show I'm talking about, a week or two ago.
Yeah.
So.
Were they in the same, they were in the same venue?
So the venue
the band was playing live in the venue, yeah.
But there's no one there.
There was nobody in there. It was just the band, the three-piece band. And,
but is it legal for them to be together?
I guess so. I haven't heard about anybody getting arrested yet. So,
because the bar isn't open, so they're not serving anyone. They're not.
Right. There's just the band and whoever's running cameras and sound. That's it.
Yeah.
And realistically, you can run cameras remotely. One person can run, multiple cameras if you have the right equipment.
Right.
I think here in New York, or at least on the East Coast, they're talking about easing restrictions and letting crowds of up to 10 gather. So, I mean, if you're setting up a live streaming event for a band, I think if there's a cameraman, the actual band, and other people, like, that's feasible. I'm not sure when that exactly happens. My main band's agent brought it up and said that it was possibly going to happen either the end of May or beginning of June. So he was trying to hope, because we're a 7-piece band, and then we have a sound crew, costume mistress. We there's we're taking at least 10 people for every performance.
Wow.
So legally I guess we couldn't do it until they ease restrictions. I mean, everybody, the singers in my band have all been doing like acoustic, them and their guitars, like singing songs. I've been doing that, been putting songs and me sitting in my car playing songs, just to keep the name out there, just to keep, like your fans like interested. So if and when this does open up again, people, oh yeah, I remember seeing those guys last month. They were really trying. They were trying to entertain us.
Yeah, that's the best way to navigate that at the moment. You just need to be reminding them of who you are as often as possible. That's what we're doing as well. I think all musicians are doing that, because also there's an appetite for that. The audiences want it. I've never been thanked so many times for a Facebook Live in my entire life.
Yeah, right. I know.
I do believe that right now is a prime time to connect with those fans.
Yeah.
Because you don't need 10,000 fans. You just need like 1,000 that are in love with you, because they will tell everybody.
Yeah.
And
they'll share the videos and after the fact or whatever.
They share, they buy, they comment, they tell people. I mean, those are the people that you want. And connecting with them, even just on a weekly basis, is all you really need to be doing right now, because they're primed. Like, they are primed for it right now. They want it. So that this kind of does lead into like my whole, like, what are you doing right now? My actual question I wrote down was to make money when there's no shows and venues, but what are you also doing to engage with those fans?
Well, I've started a Patreon. I started it last month, so it's growing very slowly. It's certainly not going to keep me and the rest of the band alive, but it's a start. And once we've figured out what it is that we're actually offering, that has potential to grow beyond this immediate moment.
Right.
And then also, because I do a lot of social media marketing in normal times, I've just ramped it up. And actually, interestingly, at the moment, Facebook advertising is a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. So I run adverts for opt-ins into our mailing list, and those are performing amazingly well. So it's to remind people, and weirdly, we're reconnecting with people that have liked my band since we started in the days of MySpace.
Oh, wow.
they're writing to us after opting into the mailing list saying, oh my God, I heard you first back, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so we're finding them again, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Who's
Yeah,
chirping?
Go ahead, Steve.
No, I heard somebody's dog or something in the background.
That was my dog.
Shockingly, mine's being quiet right now.
So as far as making money or marketing the band, I've been put in the position of selling merch. It's something that I was pushing for a while, and the leaders of the band basically said, we were burned by merch a few times. Feel free if you want to do it. And I did. This is actually before the pandemic hit. I ordered 200 shirts, and we were getting ready to we do this yearly thing called the 80s cruise.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's like 3,000 people on this boat, and we've done the cruise 5 years in a row. And people have always asked, you guys, don't have any t-shirts. And so I did it, and we sold a bunch on the boat. And then what was left over, I've been selling online. Like I make a weekly or bi-weekly post through the band's Facebook page and my own personal Facebook page. And I also have my own shirts. So I've been selling the shirts, and I think it's maybe a sympathetic thing. People, they know we're out of work. It supports the band. And, I know there's a couple hundred people out there wearing my band's shirts and my own shirts. I was blown away by the people buying my own individual shirts, because it helps.
Right.
And it's something, like you can put out those virtual tip jars while you're performing and playing a live stream event. But I mean, some people will leave you $5, some people will leave you 50. It's, you really can't pay your mortgage or your rent doing that. At least I would be surprised if you could.
I don't believe in tip jars either. I think that it needs to be a bit more of a product rather than a hat. It's just, putting that hat out for tips, it just doesn't feel as professional.
I agree.
And whereas, if you sell merch, that is something that is actually desirable.
And walking advertisement.
That too.
Yeah. It's been great. I actually just put in a second order. Actually, it's funny, with my merch company, I sent him a text message, and I was like, hey man, I'm thinking I need some. I never ordered 2XLs or 3XLs, and I said, could you give me an estimate on what, I want to order 33, and 35. I also needed more extra larges. So I said, how about another 100 shirts? Give me an estimate. I didn't hear back from the guy. And then 4 days later, he sends me a message. He goes, yeah, you should have them tomorrow. Here's your invoice, and they should be arriving tomorrow. And I was like, Brad, I didn't even see the invoice. We didn't talk about this. I said, I'm kind of cash poor now. I said, and he goes, don't worry about it. Pay me when you get it. Pay me. So nice. I was just like, because I know he probably needs the money as well. He's probably doing no business. And since I received them, I've already sold a dozen shirts. So I'll sell them eventually, and there was just, I think he was a little excited about getting an order. So
for me, I've just been writing and recording and releasing material, and I try to put out like a lyric video every couple weeks. And I wrote a whole acoustic album and recorded it. That's coming out in a couple weeks, and I've got another one done that I have coming out in July. So I'm just going to keep writing. I mean, we were recording drums for my solo project, but we can't even get together to do that. So, and then we're supposed to track drums for Maybe Never. Everything, all that's on hold right now, as far as recording with those guys.
Yeah.
But I'll just keep writing and recording. A lot of stuff is streaming, and you don't really make much money off the stream. So You know, I mean, I'm sure everybody's aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The streaming's pretty bad. So when the people buy it, it makes a big difference. You know?
I do have a friend. I haven't spoken to him yet because he works with two bands that did do. It's the only one I've actually physically seen promoted, which was a live show with two bands that were supposed to go on tour. The tour got canceled, but they did an online thing. And I think this is where I heard of that session site because I'm pretty sure it was on there or it was something similar. But they did, and it was only like $10, I think. And then I was pissed because I actually forgot. I didn't write the right date down and I missed it by a day. So I wasn't able to watch it. But I was curious how they did it and if they did do like a virtual merch thing. Cause like I did watch the what are they called? Flogging Molly, right? Is that who it was?
Yeah, it was.
That
Yeah.
did the St. Patrick's Day thing right when this was all starting. And theirs was free. It was broadcast on like YouTube, Facebook, and a few other places. And it was just them in like a sound stage with the people running the production. But that was watched by, I mean, at one point, I think it was 175 or 80,000 people on the live on just Facebook. So who knows how many were everywhere else.
Wow.
Wow.
Did they
So I was
solicit
like, this is, huh?
Did they solicit donations or
No.
was there? Wow.
They do a yearly thing in Boston for
Sure.
St. Patrick's Day. And
Yeah.
everybody pretty much in this side of the country went dark on the 15th. So they scrambled in 48 hours to find a sound stage that would house them and the equipment, and they were able to figure out how to broadcast it live that quickly.
Wow. Impressive.
It was very impressive. But I'm surprised I haven't seen anything really on that level since then. I'm like, they proved right away it could be done. So
Yeah, I think the longer this goes on, you're going to see a lot more of that happening. It has to. You know?
Yeah.
There are people, there are bands that won't survive, and you'll never hear from them again if this goes on for too much longer.
Yeah. True.
Bands, venues, restaurants. I mean, they're all. I mean, walking through my neighborhood in Brooklyn, every other shop is got a sign that says "We are closed indefinitely, or we will be back." I mean, it's clubs that have been a staple here in New York are closing up. Just yesterday, I drove by one in Queens, the Woodside Inn. Done. They're not coming back.
Oh wow.
Just horrible. I mean, I started out. I was with the clubs. I moved here to New York City 20 years ago, and that was like one of the places that I got my feet wet in. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't have a clear idea in my head on. Like, I have tons of ideas for musicians and artists on what they can do by moving themselves online, but it's really hard for a music venue if they're not doing anything else in that venue.
Well, the music venues in London they're beginning to host events. So for instance, I as part of our album launch tour, we were supposed to play at the Union Chapel in London in April. And the Union Chapel is a 2,000 capacity venue. And they're starting to do, but they're not allowed yet because you actually can't have anybody in a venue at the moment. But as soon as they can, they're going to start hosting these live events from there and organizing the ticketing themselves. So that's how they can survive.
Right. Yeah, I think if they can figure out how to, like when they went about so they can start promoting stuff again.
Yeah.
My personal advice, hearing you say that, would be to broadcast those shows live to show everybody you're back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like for maybe a first few weeks, just so people are aware.
Yeah. What I don't get about the live gigs from the point of view of the bands is how many can you get away with doing? Because one of the reasons that I wanted to do a live show is that we haven't been able to come back to the US in the last 3 years. And we have a lot of fans in the US. So I thought, well, there you go. That's them taken care of. But how many times can you do that? It's not like going on tour where each city,
Right.
everybody could, in theory, everybody who wants to come and see your band could come and do it that one time. But then how do you get repeat customers?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because you're basically gonna do the same show,
Right.
right? Yeah, I mean,
Unless you change it massively
Right.
every time. But
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
again, is not really feasible.
Yeah, I have some friends on the West Coast that are doing it like 2 or 3 times a week. But they're not doing it in a club. They are doing, actually, they've done one in a club, but they're doing a request show.
Okay.
They're like, just, and people chime in through the comment boxes. They're streaming it live through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and they're selling their merch. And they're doing it, but they're a 3-piece band. So I was like, yeah, that's, if you could take in, $500-600, it's okay. That's, you do it a couple times a week, you could pay your rent with that. It might not pay for groceries or anything else, but it's something. And how many times can you do it? I mean, and how many times can you go out there, and you're also, by formulating these meetings, you're subjecting yourself to getting sick. I mean, it's more travel time. It's more time, interacting with people that could get sick too, and they spread it to you. They spread it to your kids. I mean, you're taking a chance every time you do this. You have to think that you could be carrying this.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to scare everybody into saying, oh, that's a bad idea doing these live stream things, but it's the sad reality. It's the reality where we are right now.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely a reality for the next little while.
I know it's much worse down by you, Mike, than it is upstate from where we are. I mean,
Yeah.
Nancy's even farther away than I am. So,
Yeah. People. I mean, I know people in the Midwest who are like, yeah, like my friends I have a lot of friends in Nashville, and they're like, I think there's like 27 confirmed cases.
Right.
I mean, it's nothing, and it's because how New York City is set up. We're all living on top of each other. You go on the subway, there's 100 people in your car.
Yeah.
Like more than that sometimes. It's like
elbow to elbow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've ridden on them. I know, man. I lived there for 8 years, so I know what it was like.
Yeah. So, and our airports, we're international airports. Before travel restrictions were put in place, we were taking thousands of people in from Wuhan, China.
Right.
Like they wonder how it spread so quickly here. Well, there's one of the biggest reasons. Like travel down to Chinatown. You want to talk a not very cohesive to keeping the virus under wraps. Walk through Chinatown one day. I mean, it's just it's tough, but that's possibly tours will avoid New York City. Maybe they could play just the Midwest, or maybe they can play Nashville, and just I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
Well, I suppose, yeah, if states are reopening everything, then you will be able to go and play in those states, won't you? Because the venues will be open.
Right, if there's no restrictions, right.
Yeah.
But then, like there's a gathering of say someone is booked in Pigs Knuckles, Arkansas. They put some, there's some huge coliseum in Pigs Knuckles, Arkansas, and they do the next Ozfest there. Well, people are going to be flying in from all over the country to go to Pigs Knuckles, Arkansas. So it's, I think what we really need to do is just get this under wraps, come up with some sort of vaccine. Something has to, like, I just can't believe that this wasn't all in place already. I can't believe there was no, like Center for Disease Control. I thought they would have something to protect us, but apparently not, So.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I mean, viruses take on so many different shapes and forms. They just mutate into something else.
Yeah.
Until it hits.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, because I was gonna say, like, with flu shots. I mean, they kind of make a vaccine where they kind of think of what it's going to be like, right? They don't know what it's going to be until it hits.
Yeah.
True, but the containment of it, I would imagine that after this disaster, there'll be systems in place for, well, God forbid, next.
Right, and the governments where something might originate have to be a little more forthcoming and
Now
that's
that they
the
can see
problem.
that it's real, that
Yeah,
it can happen,
yeah,
then they have to have something in place.
yeah. That's scary. I mean, you think about it.
Yeah.
The way travel is now, what'd you say that the Spanish flu you're talking about, Mike? I mean, imagine if they had to travel like they have now,
I know, right?
right? It wasn't as easy to get around the world back then.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Horse
So
and buggy.
I do have a quick comment from the Facebook view. They say, Mike, your t-shirt idea was super cool. That's a great idea. And then she also says that virtual tip jars are a thumbs down.
Well, I mean, it's something. Back to what Steve was saying, mentioned earlier. I was going to interrupt him, but I didn't want to be rude. He was mentioning, the feasibility of them opening up a club, and what are you going to do? Like, who's going to make money off a half full club or theater? Are they going to increase are they going to increase the admission charge? How are the people at the venue going to make money? How are the bartenders going to make money? How are they going to pay the bands their guarantee? I had this discussion with another musician friend of mine last week, and something is better than nothing, though. Right now it's nothing. Right now, like the virtual tip jar, it might be a thumbs down to some people, but I know it cheapens the product. It's definitely not as professional as saying, okay, we want $20 per view or per stream. Some of these people just aren't, they are not operating. They don't have professional cameras or mixing equipment. It takes money to make money. Yes, for sure. So I guess whatever works for you. Like my friend's band on the West Coast, they're called Trial by Fire. They were a working band. They were like the biggest hustlers I knew. They were playing like 4 or 5 shows a week, sometimes more than that. We would do the cruise with them every year. They also do the Star Trek cruise and the smooth jazz cruise. And, they were just hustlers, and they had the rug pulled out from underneath them. So they set up in the guitar player's living room and play. They got one venue let them in. And they just made sure they social distanced but they're a 3-piece band, so it's a little easier to social distance than a 5-piece or a 7-piece group. So, yeah, I mean, if venues want to let 30 people in, I say, okay, let's do it.
I do see an opportunity there too, for if they have to have the capacity, then they should try to make it up with a private live stream that they can also sell the tickets to.
Yeah.
I mean, that could at least cover more of the expenses on both ends.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You go ahead. Okay.
All that requires is to make sure that the technology is up to scratch, and then a concert like that can become as desirable as a live concert,
right?
In the actual venue, because then it'll become something that you watch with as much pleasure as you'd watch Netflix. Well,
sure.
Potentially more. But I mean, I've been watching a lot of theatre. There's a lot of live streams from the National Theatre here, and they're actually doing them for free right now, because it's old, it's pre-recorded stuff, because they do them in cinemas over here. They broadcast them in cinemas.
Yes, they do that here too.
Yeah. But I suspect that with the theatres, for instance, they're doing what Napster managed to do for streaming music, that they're getting people used to streaming stuff from home, and they'll start charging when they can reopen the theatres with reduced capacity. They will be doing the shows and charging, and people will be happy to see them because they know what quality to expect.
Right.
Yeah, and you would think with certain venues throughout the world, I mean, they already have recording equipment in there. I mean, they have They have
Right.
mixing consoles.
Yeah.
I mean, how much extra could it? I mean, most of them, like the venues that they in New York City, the venues will offer you a video. Like, yeah, for $50, we'll videotape your videotape. I'm dating myself.
Give you a DVD.
They'll give you a DVD of your performance for $50 or $100. So
Yeah.
a lot of that it's already in place. I mean, these are possibilities too. Maybe they can get like liquor sponsorships. Budweiser presents maybe never
Yeah.
at so and so this venue, and if you'd like to come to the show, reserve seating is limited. It's going to be 100 patrons. And then if you want to spend $50, you could watch it from the safety and security of your home. And
Right.
you could, you know, and maybe never will also include a CD.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly what we were planning for our concert in the barge, which we probably will still do. And our concert was also going to be interactive in the sense that not that we could take requests, because we're a 3-part close harmony group, so we can't improvise, but we were going to make it interactive in as much as people could ask us questions, say hello, you know, get name checked, and so that is also something that could be possible if it's well organized, if it has if it's somehow directed. It might take an actual director to make it work.
Another thing you could do for any kind of live stream like that, you could make it like a storytellers, and before you play a song, you tell what the song's about or what inspired you to write it or whatever it might be. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like there's a show I used to watch. I don't think it was Storytellers, it was something else. It was a guy that would interview the bands like on a couch, and then it was just a private studio, and then the band would get up and play the songs, and then they would do more interviews, like even that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. I mean, you know, somebody's going to take the ball and run with it. That's for sure. You know, somebody's
Yeah,
going to have
definitely.
to, obviously.
Yeah, those are all good ideas. Another one that I've seen recently implemented is the popular. Have you seen Cameos?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yes.
This is where you can have your favorite actor or musician say like, "Hey, Happy Mother's Day. This is so and so, and I'd like to personally like your son Jimmy reached out to me, and we want to wish you the best. Happy Mother's Day. He says you're fantastic, and yeah, there's a charge for that."
Right. I think Michael Sweet's doing that, isn't he?
Is he? Oh,
yeah. I think I saw somebody post one. Somebody got wished a happy birthday or something from him.
You know, it might not be much, but these are all streams of revenue that help. I mean, it's not a lot, but
I saw one of those. Somebody hired Dee Snider to send a message to someone that I saw.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it through our crowdfunding campaign, singing happy birthday or whatever to people, or will you marry me? And actually did pretty well, honestly. So it could become something that is a product. Because again, thinking of merchandise, having run 2 crowdfunding campaigns now, I've changed my mind about what constitutes merchandise, because there's so much more scope than just the usual stuff. Mm-hmm. We also sell our vocal arrangements, but also again, for instance, singograms being a vocal trio. I think that merchandise can expand to include more experiences and online experiences.
Right.
And I do think another thing, like you mentioned the Patreon earlier, you can have different membership levels and stuff like that. And actually, I was thinking when you said that, I should have asked my friend Andy, because he started one a little bit before all of this. You know him, Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I mean, I see it's doing very well. He's up to like, I think almost 400 a month now with. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's definitely helping him, I'm sure. And there's that, but there's also like just memberships in general, like you can, like you have your Netflix membership, but you could also have a membership to a band website that you just do premium content for them. Maybe that's where you do your, maybe you have a level where that's where you allow the requests. Like if you're paying me $20 a month, you can request whatever damn song you want. Like
Right. The Kiss Army, they already have that, don't they?
Probably.
Some bands do have that. If you like join the Kiss Army or whatever, you get exclusive content or whatever,
And you can do anything. It could be Q&As. It could be advanced access to the album when it comes out. I mean, it can be so many different things. It can be whatever you want it to be.
I mean, all these are I think are great ideas for nominal streams of revenue, but nothing's going to beat the power of a live performance. That's why people, they go out for a release. They want to raise their fist and yell, and while people are caught up in the moment of you performing their favorite song, when they go for a beer break, they're buying your T-shirt. They're buying hats, panties, CDs, whatever at the merch table. Like the power of a live performance is second to none.
Then you also get people that Facebook Live, when you're playing, they put videos up live, so it's all, people get into that, they want to see a live performance for sure.
Yeah, true.
Be there in physical, not watching it mainly on its screen,
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has definitely been super informative, I think. And I kind of feel better that I've talked this out with some people. But
all is not lost. We have a lot more music to make.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of where I was kind of headed with this, is like, because I've seen both ends of the spectrum. I've seen the people who have just gone out and started doing the Facebook Lives and doing the even the virtual tip jars and all that. And actually I did look into that, because before all of this, Facebook was very thumbs down about that and would possibly even shut your page down for something like that. But they're really getting on board with helping the artists because they realize what's going on. There's actually, and I'm going to talk about this in my Facebook group, so if you're not in the Facebook group, you should join. There's a whole Facebook for creators now, and it's so much stuff in there. It's almost a little overwhelming. It's things to add to your videos. Like you can add intros to your videos after you do them. Like you can actually edit your live after you're done and just add things to it, which is amazing. It's got a ton of tools in there, but I'm glad to see Facebook hopping on that, because right now they are totally okay with the Venmos and the PayPals and all of that stuff. So as I say, if they're not shutting you down for it, go ahead and do it if that's your thing. But I did see a lot of people that were just really like, this is it, this is the end, and like almost acting like this is the end of their music career. And I'm like, this is like the prime time to grab your audience. And I just want people to really understand that. And you're never going to know unless you just try it. So I hope people are just hit live, go live, talk. In fact, I was not nervous about being live on video. Like when I first started doing it a long time ago, yeah, I was a little nervous, but I get hung up when I lose my train of thought, which happens a lot because I'm a little bird brain sometimes. But I last week decided, or actually the week before, I just hit go live when I woke up in the morning, and whoever was on joined me. And I literally just talked shit for 15, 20 minutes with people who were on my live. And I had no content. I had nothing written out, no notes. Like today, I've got notes just so I don't like lose my train of thought. But I just did it to do it because it helped. And I feel like after 5 days of it, it really did help me that I'm not stumbling over things anymore. I'm not getting hung up on like, oh crap, I look like a dumbass because I can't remember what I was going to say. Like, I don't care anymore. And that's the thing, is like, and it's more authentic that way, because if you do lose your place while you're doing something, or if you do mess up that song in the middle of it, it's okay. It's real. It happens to everybody, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm super, super happy that we did this, and we're coming up on an hour now, and I don't want to waste everybody's afternoons and nights for Marcella.
Yeah, it got dark since we started talking.
I know.
It's 9
Like
p.m.
looking outside. But so yeah, anybody who's watching this, that we do have a Facebook group and all of us here are in it. It's the Musicians Pandemic Think Tank, place to just share your ideas, get ideas, see if your idea has merit type of thing. And I did start it just for musicians, although I did allow a few of my personal friends that I know are huge music fans and that they have opinions on things that I think would be beneficial for those of us who maybe just are too close to it. Like I have and that's what the comment earlier was from one of them. She with the shirt idea and how the virtual tip jars, she's not into those. But it's good to hear that feedback so you can kind of know, and especially you really need to actually ask your fans like how they feel about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And try everything, because if something doesn't work, you're going to know. And then you can just set that to the side and try something new. And that's basically what this whole time is all about right now, is just trying everything and seeing what sticks and set aside if it doesn't.
Yeah, true.
So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I think this conversation was amazing, and I'm so happy to have been here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good seeing everybody, meeting everybody, and talking
You
to you.
too.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy, everybody.
Yeah, stay healthy.
All right. We'll talk
Bye.
to you all soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You
See ya.
too.